Namo Guru Be Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Guru Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Guru Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Kande Laje Gwenje Toga Ragwa Shuzan Bonde Chunze Cheje Yabo Gwenje Losa Sedan Jeba Nede Sheso Denje Nanga Sende Bede Cheje Lama Yebe Zunga Dalon Debe Shena Shinjo Denba Yeje Ge Sheje Jungwen Jabe Lode Lo Gesa Nabe Yenjo Leche Tabe Beje Lamen Zebe Tongde Tembe Zende Laja Yewo Chiyu Nazo Medo Da Tishen Dobe Nas Weja Yidu Chudin Yazo De Suna Shinjo Chela Chebu Kashi Tomen Dine Saba Lunga Yesu Mige Jije Kebaran Domba Sunji Medu Nyingde Yuban Tabu Soso Nyingme Dede Mande Dom Cheje Bangben Denjo Deyu Gombo Cheje Labjin Zeba Lan Daja Cheje Laman Damba Tienam Ye Chugu Kala Tienje Tinte Cheda Zamben Deje Sema Sabje Cheje Chava Abdo Namda Vese Yingle Xingba Ye Sonju Gola Chado Mi Tame Nangu Sugu Rabda Side Mando Mino Demba Dazo Jini Sabe Kewan De Dendan Do Kebra Jizu Losan Daba Yin Dembe Ningbo Seje Sho Mime Zebe Derjin Jere Se Time Yim Wangbo Jambe Yang Debo Mali Zhongze San Kanjin Kebe Zogin Zongha Ba Losan Tabe Shan Mime Zebe Dejin Jere Se Time Kembe Wangbo Jam Debo Mali Zhongze Sanwe Da Kanjin Kebe Zogin Zong Losan Tabe Shabla Sowan De Mime Zebe Dejin Time Kembe Wangbo Jambe Yang Debo Ma Kanjin Kebe Zogin Zongba Losan tabe shala sowan de bande zabe lama rembo dazo jiwuran benden den shola gadi chimbe Guzon doji ngudu zendo zu bande zabe lama rembo 다소 닝가람 베멘 대조라 가디 침비 고네 초다 태몽으로 제도서 반대 자베 라마르 다소 닝가람 베멘 대조라 가디 장조 닝베 바도 데벌 안조 마산 주메 셰라 파르제 마제 망가 남게 오보 소소라리 이세 주요 되존게 자제로 대연타 가데 바라가 바라 삼가데 보데여 소하 대연타 가데 바라 삼가 보데여 소하 대연타 가데 상가데 보데 조워 게레 동다 자조 시원다 미데 네베 젠다 제워天波 大学点讲的的如有所行别也如些没多다게 최주론 집에 손남제 안돌아 빈제 산제 예배 손남제 안돌아 빈제 산제 안돌아쇼 소제 조남라 장조 마도 다네 장도제 다게 최주론 집에 손남 돌아 빈제 산제 안돌아쇼
Semje tabje to tojala nanga yada mo zo sa ye mo ro che ni ko ba. Ti che de tabe sho sa nya be. Kuno sa ju se che ma se za da me sa ba she.
Let me remind every one of ourselves to take a moment and cultivate the highest form of motivation. We call it Bodhisattva motivation, or the altruistic motivation, seeking complete enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings. And with that kind of at least contrived bodhicitta altruistic motivation, we should all participate in this Bodhisattva's discourse on the perfection of concentration or samadhi, chapter number 8, page 130.
다 신중지 되서 다 거기서 다 신제야 상로 땅에 다 좋아 냠성해야 되는 말 해야
So what we have been going through is that having trained our mind in exchanging self for others, then how should we continue in terms of thinking and actions, right? No.
Sumba James, that draw the knees, Jambu Gone, Damba. Sumu Gone, Sajabo, Tambone, each Ranshi, Randon so de. They are James, that Duzula, Sir Sambe, Duzita, Joy Duzu, Yela. They Daman Kundi, Meso da, do Shevada, Sheso Jikani, Sumo. Yimo, Tedar Nayam. Shartse ne Tedala, Yembu Cheva Shita to Goma Shitena. Tia Jenny, Yembu Saba Cheva Jay, Goni Jes Jujitembe, Tony Dele, Hindu. Deba Mende, Joanna, Tedaki, Sabe Jujitemba, Soba Kaya, Teda, Kanda, Yam Medeba, Sheva, Menzeve So. Joe Jesu, Rubzuni, Ward Sheye, Tokshe, Shani, Soy, Ye, Debra, Javanale, Timba, Sumba, Songso, Wonja Sajinde, Mudeja on the Sheve, Jen is the Jova, Dene Tami, Sami Shela, Delia, Jamugone, Damata, Sumugone, Sajava, Yi, Tangola. Nga rāngchī dī chīwa sōngi nyeba dā meba nī lēchī rāngi yī mōngba chōgi tōngba meba nī rāga tō kōna pūsū sōpa shik chīwa rā dōnāng tī tā lā mōngba chōni Shin Yavadar Ranila Shavi Cheva Sungni Tamai Bala Shuve Sikeva Changme Bas Tuman Deva Churjan Shindo Taji Rangdon Zangyan Manjabar Kala Tongmebe Si Yewa Chebu Bashi Nyanso Nywa Churla Tong Manjaba Zamdu Masi Bezo Shambu Titabu Lezi Sheji Daniela Yuring Bur Nugabe, Koya Dungi Miseva, Bashi Joba, Sege, Teleshed Gube Tunche Manjoba did Juba Messi Base, Nesu Shed, Hiji Range, Rangla, Titi Shebam, Nian Shene, Jabu Gone, Damde, Ti Tong Yang Siba Shiba De, then so the Da the Hin Shiva Nam Tidati Da Changbur Sum Bar Shao Tida Da Changbur Sum Ta Tirisha Kanja. Joa Duzu de Nyansa Tirisha Karsa. Six Jose, Louis de la Jeva Chassia, Samota Joala Leta, Joala Leka Joga, what did you do that didn't kill you, Siva?
No.
So that had up to be around. She was so she knew your towards you, the Joto Tadapodi, doing by you give us the Jesia, Pento, the legate of Kakashi overs. That happened that it don't have a tone. Any better things you do, somebody that Dashi, Savalan, or typically Joa Namsalang is what did it get?
just to recapitulate some of the key outlines. So we are instructing our mind, Rangasamla Dhamma, or advising our mind in two different ways. First, we start off talking, literally translating in a sweet way, right, a pleasant way, and if that's not working, then the next one is we are instructing our mind with kind of a tough love, right, wrathful way. And in either case, as we know that we are cultivating equalizing self with others and exchanging self for others by way of thought, samba, training our mind, and by way of actions, right? The whole purpose of cultivating these attitudes and training is so that we are able to, engage in the actual actions supporting and promoting those attitudes. And so in that context, which at the bottom of page 129, we talked about this before, but again, Geshe went back to this stanza. 155 reads, because of desiring to benefit yourself, O mind, all the weariness you have gone through over countless past eons has only succeeded in achieving misery, unquote. And so now we are telling our mind that you always wish for your own happiness, desiring for that, and you have cherished yourself over others, and you have been doing this for over many eons, and what have you really achieved now? Forget about accomplishing anything meaningful and beneficial to others or fulfilling others' purpose. You have even failed to fulfill your own purpose because you haven't achieved anything meaningful. What you have achieved is like misery or the suffering. And so now you should realize that cherishing yourself of others is the source of all the unwanted miseries. And instead of doing that, now you should sort of wake up and learn to cherish, others, and cultivate that attitude, and do the necessary thing to equalize and exchange self for others. And then, as Geshe emphasized this, of course, first we have to train our mind, but once our mind is trained, the goal of training our mind is to engage in the necessary actions of promoting others' well-being, right? What is the use of simply just thinking about good thoughts and then never really do anything by actions, right? So, cultivating the thought is to be able to engage in the actions benefiting others. So cultivating thought is important, but simply cultivating thoughts and not doing anything by deeds or actions, then it doesn't serve much of a sort of a purpose. No, sir. So first, as we have seen, the first approach is what we call jumbo, pleasant way, sweet talking, just basically telling our mind, just listen here, think about all the demerits or the disadvantages of sharing yourself of others, and think about all the benefits of putting others before self and cherishing others, And if this kind of what we call nice talking or nice advice in a pleasant way, sweet talk is not working, then the only option, so to speak, is to invoke the tough love situation. Okay, now you don't want to listen, I just want to basically control you and I'll tell you what to do. Okay, so then it's becoming more like a command, right? Now not like, nice to do, can you listen? It's not that. I just want you to do, right? Otherwise I'm going to just control you. So I'm going to dominate you. So that's kind of the rough way, literally translating. Tsubo means rough, right? Getting really tough, right? Yeah.
Not this culture. Tangoni ye ke rang do so de yang jen ji da ju ju la ji san be ju ju de ju ju de yin ye la de tangoni de kong de me so da chi ba xie so yi ka ne song den ba yin me jiang de da nang sa jin de de da yin bu che ba chi da de go ma xie den la de yang je ne yin bu che ba jin ji go ne ji su ju ju den be tong yin Tiri hinta moista, tiri karsa, sambe dinzi di koon hiya pecha da, sambe dinzi, da di jawa nyams dinzi dingu yosi, o tiri nyingshi, da tiri koon di minso di hiya zay, da dinzi, da nang sajin diri, da nyingbu chewa chidad doma hiya din lasi, chidad pa ched diya. Taya jini nyingbu samba chewa ji yukoni, you do them be doing ye. The television, the man who Nama there, Tikan, Tiba Geshe, the Sehi share, Mother, Teleton, that thing I can terrorists or this.
So in terms of presentation, first, we have a brief presentation and then we go into extensive presentation. First we start off talking nicely and sweetly, and if that doesn't work, then we started to command and dominate, and we become rough, right? That's the approach. And first we train our mind, cultivating by way of thought, and then of course engaging in the required actions by Jorwa, right? Those are the things we keep in our mind. And as Geshe explained, that in terms of the theme or the key points, we already laid it out and talked about it, right? There's nothing new to talk about. But we can go into details of related to exchanging self for others.
Jebana timber song so one young Sajin di moving young the shaves, Jen share jobas, and dinners and share last. Tell a young Jabugon is number the Zumugon number in Tangulas. Not jibers, not run jibers soon, never la mebani. Terida, Conja, she doesn't move Jesus the wall, she or the Shana, that generally to go to such a Saji didn't go to his, still that Jabu and number that's a more in your wrist with this year. Tell a young Jabu gone, Damba, Zumu, Damba, in your not Roger was never, nes. The in the Ranchi was on the Dibujo Karshondo, or take don't you at the Ranchi was in Yeva Meva. That is the Karas and the Legion on Yichu, Mumba churches, the Toma said, Tom and the Ranchi was some hill yacht on his own, the Tazaba Sondilla, she don't Dibujo that do him by your mother, Dilia, Dibujo Chia Shumo Maris. So the tip was doing the tons on the end way, Dakin Jeshen, and the round year the Shinja was some movies. And Puzzles of Gangatel Yungo, this on the tons of the Joa Lagland, the Jago race. What this was a raw at you. Doing tea talabum, but that doing the talabum. You get the Ronchibas, the Rani, the Osman, Tadaji, the ready, send a talabum. Rani daughter the Shinjiba Sungur, the Mazusin Tablamon, the concept. Somebody on a tabby base. Yawan Joshi Jovary, this one, Tazaba de Betoma and Tazaba de Ronjo, Samazan, you the still be due of the Yachi Shumo Maris. So that happens the chamber shed, it would call Don, that Rampa Yawa Don. She was a Lagland of the Wiki, but Lagland Taruris. What is it?
So the first we start off instructing our mind or advising our mind, similar Dhamma, in a nice way, pleasant way, peaceful way, whatever you want to say. So the peaceful way includes, as we already talked about, we are telling our mind that we understand that you have been seeking happiness, right? And so that's nothing wrong with that. Your goal is fine, but you have been going it in a wrong way. The method, the attitude you have adopted has gone wrong, So because you have been ignorant about what really can bring the happiness you are seeking, and so you adopted the wrong way or the method. So you were ignorant about that. You are very stupid about that, And so now you had so much time, countless eons you have been doing this, and what you have been doing is you have been cherishing self over others, and you have completely neglected the well-being of others. So that's the attitude you have adopted, the wrong method you followed, and forget about fulfilling or bringing benefits to the others. You have not been able to achieve much even for yourself, right? Just look at yourself. All this time, what you have achieved is more suffering, misery, isn't it? You want happiness, but you got more suffering. So the way you worked all these eons hasn't worked out. So now listen, carefully, that you should learn to cherish others, because that is the source of happiness. That attitude can really, really help you to find the happiness that you are seeking. And so not only that, you should adopt that attitude, but you should really engage in the actions to benefit others. So we are having sort of telling our own mind, right, in a nice way.
Kubachi Tonje Madu, Jova Mississippi, near so she lay around a treaty. Near Chang De, Jabuko and Dandi. Titon Yang, Sabajeva De. Then so the Dadash. He was num. Teta tea, the Dartang Borosum shows. That is the Target, the Simja to get the rounds, Dasia Simjan, so she had the social to Shiro. That did a mason the young Darang shit. And the same just that tongue was in the ma, that he says Darang the shit, hands and shaking share. What the dark tongue was in my doings, or this or that.
So one of the things to keep in our mind is that in the context of exchanging self for others, Dakshin Cheba in Tibetan, so we have assumed a new identity or self. The new self is all the sentient beings, isn't it? We recognize or consider all sentient beings as if they were I or me or the self. And the self-chasing attitude is called the old self, right? But now, I mean, at times what we also find is that we switch that. Sometimes we also, right, when we say I or the self, we mean the old self, which is self-chasing attitude, and the other is the other sentient beings. Okay, so we do not want to get confused with those things because then things won't make sense. Right? No.
Rangazin Majava Mikeba, the Java, into the Mijugo, Yabe, sing Yeba Tembo. Yeba Tembo, Yayan, Yes, Combustion, Beba to me, to go with over showers. No, that was in Yimi, the young Mount Shiva, no young Sunday. And the Ranchi was a John Shin, you are the Karsa. John the Yeshed or the John is on the Dayan Jenny. In Shin Tonsia, the round pay you are there with the some young Sunday. Change the Boshenis. Siguro.
No.
Young Sunday, change the Yambu Change. Then dry show runs in the Majava, that is all the dry shores, and that dry bed do shoes or shores is on good. Yah and Yahoo the shores,
No.
do in the Shita, do that do be shores, I said.
No.
Dry shores, dry on that do shoes or runs in the race. Until I don't down any bed, but got over the intimation. Baby, and the go with towels, bear race, what is it?
No. So we are instructing our mind that as you have gone through these lessons of how self-cherishing attitude is fraught with all problems and is the source of all unwanted misery, and how cherishing others is the source of all goodness and benefits. And you should repeatedly contemplate these things, and use with the help of mindfulness and introspection, right? We should reflect repeatedly on the disadvantages of self-cherishing attitude, and so don't let the self-cherishing attitude to arise, But if must prevent it from arising. But if it has already arisen, do whatever you can to be able to seize it, to block it. On the other hand, do everything to cultivate the attitude of cherishing others. And if you have already generated it, just do everything to be able to maintain it. And to be able to do such things, you should take the help of mindfulness, tempa, and introspection, shishin. And so you should understand that self-cherishing attitude is the number one enemy. Tai Chok means the supreme enemy, right? And so therefore, it's better not to, have this enemy with you.
What is the Karsa? Here's the Ngabala, Sabala, Yondan, Ngabane, not the Sheva. Nara Tedara Shiva, Kun Desimu, Tashin Shidara Shanyana, Ranjiva Suna, Dunga Bashik Le Bashik Jogo, Sudra Shiva Shen, Chiji Hinseva Sun Yever, Simji Henda, Tokana Joala, Rab Dragon, Juba Hida. And now two batamji came base, Kalane, zooming ashing. Sema inches, Tenzin Dorjee, Naya, Mulo, Ron Yavadro, Torhinjeva Sune, Dahin Java Shiva tea. Dahin Java Shiva tea. Yode nam peyon ni si launga saju kaso rege toam sanjebe tu toan jorde hendon chebe rado tar chebara jo ande tende shiwa imbe so teda Teta so no tambu ni la jabe da Geshe Teta Daki Soldebi Delang Maji Juba Ki Yeso Shigabani Not Rondolan Juba Teta Tingni Shin Seda Tunla Juba Dela Maji Baradi Juba Dagi so deb heve toyamba hedos or there that the Roger the John the Hazen the Yamdo here Jesse. Then the Roger the John lost here, Hazen the Yode lost here. That young Yamdo or the Hilda Mirama would do Nedation. Perhaps then do it surgery. The Nedation here was the kid remember what here go. So that hit on Mendard with that. Some Hilda, Roger John Hazen the Yonichi. Young don't jump to here. Young Roger the John your loss here, here's the loss here. That had to go to don't hear. Some
No, sir. So what Geshe read from the commentary and explained is that like 3 ways or approaches have been adopted to address exchanging self for others. And the one way is that, talking about the faults of self-cherishing attitude and the benefits of cherishing others, together, right? That's one way. And the second approach is that we talk about the faults of self-cherishing attitude separately and the benefits of cherishing others separately. That's the second way. Then the third one is, again, summarize it, right? Bring them together. So those are the 3 ways through which we extensively, deal with exchanging self for others.
what did I teach? Not to share get a wrong ye yes, the shin day. Shiba yi tsara she nga ma ki tu su ro ji di ki sa ba de hin le pe ne da shin je le di she ba re chun ne chi nga ki de san ji si ne se ran da he ki to ta ji pu su so ba ro ba ji de wa ko na la che wa jo do me sa ye se de dai me ba du me ko na nyang go ba Tada Geneka Yamba did our Turbisi Yebena not the Mashi Beton to make sure to their sing. Do it Tayeva Noa las something Juba Gaging. Think the Daki Jawas, Gobble and Bever shows, or there the Dashi something almost Tobacco in the Tadasan Jesbe. Simple Toshi San Gestaris. That the Maji that Tadaba Dungabaki Yon, the Dash Legarica Pechita, I'm sure. Timiko Golamiko Dungan Bekevamania, somebody the Tobacco, Nasi Jaran, and the San get the serious subject be a Toshi, Sanjio Topsaris.
So Geshe-la's reading of the commentary pertains to these 2 stanzas. Stanzas 156 and 157. I'll read them and then translate the explanation given. Those of you who have this same English translation by Stephen Batchelor's, we are on page 130. Therefore, I shall definitely engage myself in working for the benefit of others, for since the words of the able one are infallible, I shall behold its advantages in the future. Next stanza reads, if in the past I had practiced this act of exchanging self for others, a situation such as this, devoid of the magnificence and bliss of a Buddha, could not possibly have come about. So unquote. And so as Geshe explained, actually in the Tibetan root text, the word you is right referred because we are instructing our mind, you. But of course, in the English translation, we have the first person I. So we are telling our mind that if you had exchanged self for others before, by now you would have become Buddha already, and you wouldn't have to go through any suffering, and you would be benefiting others only. But instead, you cherish yourself over others, and so you have found more misery. Okay? So we are telling. So this is because in seeking happiness, you were ignorant about, stupid about what kind of attitude those goes with finding happiness and the method that can yield the result. And so you have wasted so much of your time over eons just following the wrong method, and you have ended up in more problems and misery now. But had you, adopted cherishing others before and exchanged self for others, by now, you would have the bliss of an enlightened man, and so you would be in a very different situation.
대달 계기와 소의 배용당 대다 나리양 마우디 셰반남 양양 사원에서 닝타고네 조슈 저고 제디 신지 신여한들 로마지와 미지바 제바 윤투의 메슈지 나 랑 제바 제바 셰디 셰나야 제바 제바 로제네 텔라야 방바당 누가디 이두에서 로지게 타의 배버셔 타의 배버셔 오세 어디다 가서 대단히 신지 수의 가서 소지 나 고발라 배버셔 다 배고 가서 소소가 돼야 되와도 메데 등에 메데 오리로 제가 다 등에 메데 나는데 티 등에 세야 교들 되와는 되와 주가 주도 되마도 제 통통네 내 되와게 아주 어떻게 요마로 시지 배 유저 콜로지에 펜도 요 말이지 타는서 인지미지 배다 당신 제고야 그래서 제네 되와가 수준 되와가 주고 맞는 누구가 용고 제가 다 되게 될 때는 인데 리베고네 거비 journey 리베랑도 조르면서 지난 디레다 티바시고다 시신의 약보 열세 아지고 말와 상도다 인데 예반이야 용게도 어디가 막 해도 어디서
So we are telling our mind that you got it all wrong all this time, and kind of late. You have wasted so much of your lives in samsara over the eons, but still, never too late, so to speak. And now you should seriously, think about this, how self-cherishing attitude is the source of all miseries that you really don't want, and cherishing others is the source of all goodness that you want. So accordingly, now you should behave, right? That you really want happiness, but you thought that cherishing self of others is going to lead happiness, but it never did, isn't it? Because it's the wrong way. This cause does not bring happiness you are seeking, it produces more suffering. So if you want happiness, then you should cherish others, because that is the real cause of happiness. If you don't want suffering, then you better stop self-cherishing attitude, right? So you should really understand that, right? What goes well with what you are seeking. You want happiness, cherish others. You don't want suffering, stop self-cherishing attitude. This makes sense because if you are, metaphorically speaking, seeking the bliss of enlightenment, but drinking poison is not going to bring you the bliss, it just will kill you. So by way of reasoning, right, analysis, you will be able to develop certainty in the fact that cherishing others brings happiness and goodness, and cherishing self of others bring a lot of suffering. This is not something you have to take for granted or by blind faith. There are reasons, right, that you can employ to be able to establish these and develop certainty in these realities or facts. So the next, should such thought arises, that it sounds good, right, to exchange self for others. Is that really something possible, right? Are you telling me something this impossible thing to do, right? So the short answer is yes, you could, see others as I or self and cherish them, and that's very possible. The example given is on page 130, stanza 158. Of course, here the translation is put in the first person. Therefore, just as I have come to hold as I these drops of sperm and blood of others, likewise, through acquaintance, I should also come to regard all others, unquote. So again, as I said, in the Tibetan word, the word you is used. We are telling the mind, right, you. And so as Geshe explained, that it's possible to cherish others over self and regard them as if they are I or the self. Think about this, that this body you have, this coarse body, which is the result of the mixture of sperm and blood of others, right? You have somehow come to see this as I, isn't it, also you, right? And why this has happened is this is through your habituation or the familiarization process. Because this body hasn't come with you since beginningless time until now, isn't it? The sperm and blood of your parents that produce this body have not been with you since beginningless time until now, right? This is just something new happened in every life, right? This sperm and blood come together, and then you got this new body. And now, not only that, you see, or I see my body as I, but every part of the body is my head, my nose, my arm, my everything, right? So we, come to see like that. So in the same way, if we train our mind to see all sentient beings as if they are I or the self, through the same process of mental habituation or familiarization, we will be able to do that. So it's very much possible.
le thangbo ta chi simba bo nam ji kyang thangbo ne kunyu zi sheba se muni su sheba she ne mo be yu chi je de yang komba she na su na ma gombe ka so che ka wa na yang na che ka wa na yang sa lo kombe ju su shibe she ne she nam shi ge tse changzi shimbo xe nam da be zong la me de bar me de ba te ngang gu jo wa da wo ye thangbo ne khomba xe wa ke che de da la ta da mo su ju me ne ba thon de la ju me ne ba thon ne de la lo jo ye khomba da ya tonani tide lam number taba le jang chi jang sung de yonde taye ba de ba le kanji taba chona jigden de la ne ba ji jur dang kan che ji jang yirin kunyu hewa me be Juba did I chura, Kumbe, Tuso, Rangi, Hanginger, Tile Yodeta, Yonso, Kumba, Yonso, Komaji, Yonso, Komaji, Yonso, Kumba, Ji, Pewa, Kawala, she so that in a move. Most shit she knows the limit of a known the young. Tigdola, Shakdum, Shady, Mulumji, Yuji, Tsuji, Shane, T. Sholas, Lord John, Kombashava, Shindu, Keshawa, Sumbala, Teta Shiva, Shaos. Nata de yenje da hin je ne sambe ju di je ba ten las o ti se da khoje pe je se je ba go da ka to shara to thamo ne ma wo ka de be karsa nyam su je pa sha ne che ko na je kho a zam je la ji ta ja wa be je se je wa ka ba mo yo de khom ne be di ga be Nondobe Saint Pa, the devil, no more humiliation, Kundra Yoris. Maho Deke, do they and the Kadi and the Koyaji on Yomaris. Said I tell a Jibashi Goadi, Kajet Karsa. The Lugi that Java chance, take the Jibashi Jose as your road, this was the country. Lale Madana and Koyaji over the guitaris, what is the country?
So as Geshe read from the commentary and explained that there could be a lot of things that seem rather very difficult and almost impossible thing to do at the moment, but through practice and through habit, we are able to do such things. And examples are that of bodhisattvas, incredible things bodhisattvas do to benefit sentient beings. If need be, bodhisattvas are able to cut off any parts of their body and sacrifice whole their body for the benefit of others, isn't it? But those of us who are not on that level, even hearing such words is very frightening, isn't it? You mean like cut off your arm and you give, like, right? Geshe didn't say. It seems like a very crazy idea, right? A footnote. So even hearing such words is very frightening. Forget about actually doing it. But bodhisattvas, of course, in the beginning, as ordinary bodhisattvas, they are not up to the levels. They also find very difficult. But through gradual training of the mind and through the practice of giving, and as the abilities improved, now they're able to do incredible things like that, which seemed very impossible in the beginning. Now, giving parts of the body as easy as sharing food with others, isn't it? Right? Is there any difficulty sharing food with others? No. So it's as easy as that. So that is the result of mind training and practice habits, and mind follows habits. Same mind follows habits. So we need to cultivate the habit to cherish others and benefit others. And if we make excuses, so to speak, right, don't do anything, then nothing becomes possible to do at all, isn't it? Yeah, in the beginning it's difficult, and but slowly, through practice and through habit cultivations, things become, easier to do. So as Geshe explained, that at the moment, as beginners or ordinary practitioners, when we hear about how bodhisattvas at different levels were able to do incredible things, even sacrifice parts of their body and life for others, that seems like impossible thing to do. Okay, and of course we are not at the level that we should be doing that, but at least we should, how should I say, think about the possibility. This is something possible. Don't make an exception to the rule, right? That yes, at the moment I couldn't do it, right? And but I wish someday, like this bodhisattvas, how nice if I could really do that. May I be able to do that. So do some dedication prayers at least, that for the things that we couldn't do at the moment. But then as we do that thinking, our mind gets familiarized with this whole possibility, and as the things change, because nothing stays static, right? Things do change, and we might surprise ourselves, right? At a certain point of time, we're able to do things that we couldn't do now, isn't it? So this is why things we're able to do benefit others, do it. Things we couldn't do it, but don't say that, oh, I can't do it, right? But at least make a wishful prayer that may I be able to do this, right? Like others, or like the Bodhisattva someday. And through that kind of thing, we are able to cultivate the habit, the mental habit, right? And so that will make things possible.
Teta shenpe ki saba jama ngondu tang dine joye simchen shen la se khande ngobo jishi ge se pen yang de simchen shen ge tong ba hi la tok ba shi la tok shen de ko de ta do shin ge nyumam shara ta shen shene ni dag lu nirko dag lu la nirko yoji sego so kele pewa dribe shagin di roma jida jindo jidnawa te da tingi rang lu rang le cho de se mayir zeba jeba shene se yi che ji simje hen la khang pewa shawa da dewa she tong tingi di joji je jambu gone se rang la cho deba was 어디에 다 롱 줘야 돼서 좀 어디에 다 탄수도 다 인제 그 시도가가 놓으셔서 탄수도 내 시도도 파샤 상바다 상을 그게 중국어 좀 가려는데 같이 심지에 가려 고쳐도 심지에 팬도시야 유튜브 가려도 심지에 그게 따도를 고야도 고도 고지를 그거 어디 티가가 왜 두야데 아니 돈예신 아니 배종신 상호동 우리스 어디서리 그래서 전에 아니 뒤야 심지에 편지도신 상바디 개우리스 어디서리
Next stanza 159 reads, having thoroughly examined myself, in parenthesis, to see whether I'm really working for others or not, I shall steal whatever appears on my body and use it for the benefit of others, unquote. So as Geshe explained that now, we acknowledge that how we have been doing things thus far has not been the right way, right? We have cherished self over others, we have neglected others' well-being. So now we want to bring change here, right? So we want, to learn to cherish others and benefit them in whatever way we can. So it is befitting to think about, what are the things that I do have that could really fulfill the needs of the sentient beings, isn't it? Sentient beings have all kinds of needs, and do I have anything that could be used to be able to fulfill their needs? At least we should think about, right, such things. Then mentally, of course, the things we could share with others, we should, but things we couldn't literally benefit, at least we can mentally imagine, right, kind of as if stealing it away, taking it away from my own body and dedicating it for the well-being of others. So this is how we cultivate the habit of thinking about others and cherishing others and benefiting others.
Deda Shartse dāni Geshe Phuntsok soba deji da denji senje kenda dungya na chebe deda meje la dāni riksuk tomjor so tomjor ngadan la soba yonden ye shukwe thoa hien deda hien tele dobi mawa tam dāni pendo shingen maan la hien deda shiva meno she so yang na dāni rāngla pēmbē, gēwē lieshēwē, dewa shēnda tētā mīshēwē, dewa mēmbē, nā tētā dā jī jīng sē, tō chāba dā, shēn dōg jīng, mā chāba sō, dētā wū sē, chē mīwū bē, dā kī dējī sō, līk bē, shātam jī jāng, shēnda tō rīk sō shē, dā rāngla chāk dō ji me she de she rig so she ba de dong zhen surba ma shi ba te der li bar she la dong ye ze gong so yu ni she ye shuo la ga shi de rang la chak do she ba she tong zhen surba she ne she ba da she ye shuo go si wo ting ra da可是，说欧洲人，说欧洲的别说连着呀，我先兄弟，甚至现在别这么被叫不的，现在这中国嘛的，现在说差不多现在别，甚至现在叫说别要不叫不这么的，现在 Jigmarsim, Sosolia, Chapo, sort of Shen, and the Sinja Shantideva, because Zedung Shev, Shen, and the Karsati, Lanetato, Shakuresu, they said.
No. Stanza 160 reads, I'm happy, but others are sad. I'm high, though others are low. I benefit myself, but not others. Why am I not envious of myself? Unquote. So, as Geshe explained, this is as if we are, thinking about the privileges and ourselves being in better situations, and how come we are not right? We're so occupied with the self and not thinking about the well-being of others, And how can you do that? So we are becoming envious of ourselves, right? That I know I have accumulated maybe good karmas, and so I have all these good things, but then other sentient beings are suffering like anything, So I should feel something for them and do whatever I can for them, isn't it? I am in a high position, but they're in a low position, And so I have been always just thinking about myself, benefiting myself, not others. So how can I think like that, right? That seems like a bit of unbecoming, isn't it? And so we are kind of challenging our own way of thinking, that how can you do that, so that we are able to cultivate the habit of cherishing others.
Gashi de Yajuta. Round the train here, Dunga Javanis, Sabe Gondreda. Chances Dani, Seguso, Yode, Dunga Chebe, Devada, Chewam, Chewa Gide, Sinja here the Partona, Sinja here, Dunga, Kori, Koyota, Surlangne, Dala, Joa Chishi, Deda Shebe, Tongue de Diva. Deve Jati Ja Jut Gavata Chewa Chila Hiela Tong Sheba Ye de Lingso se Ten Dole Mali Yoji Gala Yojeta Lungjovala Jimba Chiji Che Shedachi Sumba Tabu Neko Kong Gitse Then Chi Shansen Ranka the Simjin never saw you, never Chishila, Sharachine, Darangi, Gosum, Gitongi Shatangi, Daji, Jeva Chela, Shiva, Chinjilo Shiva, Nananga, Titangi Dungi, La, Bijubar, Taduya, Dungela, Joram She, Rangla, Chideni, Rang Chonam. Rangi Jonam, Moso the Bonshi, Geshe Kong said, Dichi, Randona, Shendonam, Tabet, Le, some Hamba Maibe, Le, Tameve, Le, Chishi, Dark John the Dark Jeva was Hengi Rangana, Nurse so ye never Sheva, Ya, Rag Legebe on the Sheva Yeba. He Di Malay Rang Leno, he Shazarang John Java, Shela, Ti Jibu Mundeva there, Rang Yua Churi Yandis, Rang Leba de Jesetan, Rang Gola, Jua, Shui Jesos, Dag Hela, Yeva Sheba Sheba, Yeva Chumuti Shiva Chang. Meshabar, Cuba Walla, Ravi Shoji, Dag never did that which he says, she Kelani, Jube Shaba Kela, and the Chi Mishibe said, those are danger, those in danger. Jabeso that the Tubashimbo Ravi Show Shiva, Tube Jenga Shaba, Chi Shiva. Toying the head was there, Dakoji. The Karsa, Hill Karsa, nobody was to shoot us, the Hing, so nobody the Hill by John Majesty, so laying a bassa, so join his son, so go around the Gulen of Shani. Or to get Gaga because that cars a day. King Lamia Sorgirero, said the Hing never does Mundo doing a condition. The Hing Shiva Mariso laying about his son. And it is never going so called the pony, but the similar Hill be a deal. New she had about that till the landlord as some of Tonjo Morris. Till the yard that the never talk of so around Zuzoni. No one of Shane in some of them for this
Geshe-la's reading of the commentary and explanation pertains to these two stanzas, 161 and 162. And they read, I must separate myself from happiness and take upon myself the sufferings of others. Why am I doing this now? In this way, I should examine myself for faults. Although others may do something wrong, I should transform it into a fault of my own. But should I do something even slightly wrong, I shall openly admit it to many people, unquote. And the explanation Geshe given is actually on stanza 162, the one read later. And so when others do things, let's say, harm me, instead of blaming them and retaliating against them, I should, transform it into my own fault, meaning that this is because of my own bad karma, isn't it? The result of what this harm is. So we don't blame the other person, right? This is my own bad karma, and so it helps me to purify my bad karma. So we are kind of thinking in a way that, as we say in the mind training, transforming adverse conditions into the favorable condition. So in that way, we cherish others, isn't it? We don't blame them for anything. We don't retaliate against their actions towards us. We take sort of like personal responsibility that things happening to me are the results of my own karma, so we are pointing the finger at ourselves, right? We are not pointing the finger at others, right? And no.
No, maybe near job on the Jewish, you go to Hingi Chapa Java Tavane. Rangi Tadaki, Nyamba Chapa, Lakbara Java Sheve. Rang Chakwa, the Yembe, Seginani, Mumuba, Chishi Java Day. Naji Java Day, Naji Meshawas, Ron Yanda, Mendebes, Membe Nesu, Jobatan. Young Rana, Tuja Shuna, Shuna Ngai Jang, Lakbar Hin did the Uyaji. Rang Shiki Chakwa Tiang, Lakbar Jobe, Rang Chakwa Seginan Shake Shogo, take it down, change, none Jang, Lakbar Membe Leshi Gube, Tamatar, Najemeva, Mezasone, simply shall Jivuta with Dushi Shani. Tedage, Shagube, Tono. Kun Shivala, Rani Goa Kishis, Ranga Rangla, Tuba, Sujumso, Yondenji Shat, Jungse Tonya, Da did the Tadi, Jomang would Jengi, Rangshidu, Dubar, Hede, Lover du Shue, Yondenji number Jungse de Toye, the Shi Rangla, Noya, Shi Rang, Nona, Mitubar. Shosum Dani, the Yondenji Shai, Medember, Lua, the Jenny Jung, Jews Gayang, Mishebe, tops bashi sangwala beba teda kiki che de rang je ngaje cha ne rang yonde metaba membe ne su joba de tena king sim la ti rang nyambar juwe chir tege joba was tere da so bega 제가 때반지 보시는 데를 때바시는 ngaje maje 보시 근데 요데 데려가 요데에서 큰세 미게 보시는 배 대신제 제다지 바다 하셔서 마도시 갈요 말스 소소 요데스 셰지 요나 셰라야 멍어 셰니 베베스 셰니 그런 거 난지 가서 라르디 셰아죠 말이야 저 카르사 요데데 보나가 말은 나이 셰거스 Bill Shartse was
Geshe-la's reading of the commentary and explanation pertains to the next two stanzas, 163 and 164. By further describing the renown of others, I should make it outshine my own. Just like the lowest kind of servant, I should employ myself for the benefit of all. I should not praise my naturally fault-ridden self. For some temporary good quality it may have, I shall never let even a few people know of any good qualities that I may possess, unquote. So as Geshe explained, that others may see some good qualities in you or me, but I should not use that to become arrogant and puffed up. Actually, I should say, I don't think, it's just others are very kind. It's their kind perception. They just said I have, but really, and be humble, right? And whatever qualities one has, just keep it sort of within oneself. Don't sort of advertise it or, make effort that other people have to know what good qualities you have. And as Geshe says, in the context of lumbering discourses or teachings, stages of path discourses, that you may have many good qualities, but keep them to yourself. Be like a butter lamp that's lit within a vase, isn't it? The radiance is contained within the vase. It is not showing outside, So one should be humble with whatever one qualities one has, but instead, always talk about other people's qualities, but others have many more qualities than I have. I'm not the one, right? And so sing the praises of others. Do not sing praise of one's own qualities.
Teta dagi nyeba dade se chagowa de sheji jong mitsushi paru nyeba shewa rang jong de gywa da dagi yonde ji cha metashi bene se mesa zeba de sheji yonde dade chakpa deba shagobe so ne chuje dagi nyeba dasha shi sheji chuba zemesha dagi yonde bajashi sheji yonde dabasha sheda karsa thoda tumu chakdo me thoda mena nidabda kedi seba ni misha rangjong shenji yonde dra shenjong miling rangi de jesos odi shoji da devsa kaje shenji yonde me dra go da yomi zuwa rang jom joji yonde me dra what this is, what this was, here you got never dash. So the door in the sound of your mars. The shots and the told you shots, told said, here, because you so don't never catch you. The guy never did show us in the middle here, the uncle Pendo user. She said that don't touch us, told the showers, told said. Nga dire shung se xia dire kaje o ti xe de me xie de nga dong dire shung so se ma bo xie de na in so so ji mu so ma sa ro xio nga ji ro sha gu ji ro wa
no Great. Atish advises us that we should always, how should I say, rejoice in and praise others' qualities and never dig out their weaknesses or anything. So don't talk about others' problems or weaknesses. But don't sing praises of one's own qualities, but rather whatever weaknesses one has, right? Just to humble oneself, one can disclose that to the others. So on that note, Geshe talks about how, according to the Vinaya practice, the monastics, they do confession, isn't it? To be able to purify and keep themselves humble. So, which is like in the public gathering, right? So you're announcing, right, whatever faults you might have, committed. And by doing that, it has a benefit. So one benefit is when we tell others that if others praising you too much, like, no, but I have really this, share. Telling others that makes you humble, isn't it? So that we don't go on an ego trip, right? Yeah, I'm somebody, right? Because everybody's saying that, right? No, because we admit that, well, I got my own issues here, right? Problem. And so be humble and just praise others' qualities. Don't be jealous of others and don't dig out others' faults. Just, make one's business of one's own faults, right? Yeah.
토를 분도 적도면 좋아다 매라 예답다 현도 체도 세바 예미샤 런조의 현지 연대자 현지조 밀링 런기 런메도 제소스 데리게다 조지 송자를 토를 가서 분도 적도 시와 되다 좋아다 매라 예답세나也就是通俗学这个是吧？现在说是朝各式要这的，说说明白这通俗学要嘛这些。我这是准备这个老多个子，那么多那里要是给别那年的，是这的学不得那准备这个的，那才能的嘛这些，明年啥意思嘛这不，我也是这通俗学嘛是要的。现在买了捏到是呢，通用些吧。钱子些吧，你没啥。让就现有的这，让就嘛这，现有的这呀，另个嘛这些，我这是个休息送的这多，我这。
Great Indian master, Dibankar Shrijan Adisha, we call Choje, said. That when we see goodness and qualities in the others who are better than us, just rejoice and praise their qualities. Do not be jealous of others who are doing better than us. And with regard to our equals, do not belittle them, and just treat them, as equals. So in the, again, Vinaya context, the monks, who are senior to you, they are respectfully addressed as Neden, like a senior venerables. That's the best translation I can do here in English. And if they are your equal level, same age, peer group, then you address them as Tsumbar, right? I don't know how to translate that in English, like venerable. And so be respectful in addressing others, and so don't become jealous of others better than you, and don't belittle and treat badly others who are your equals. So that's what Adisha tells us.
통만 매반네 랑을 집어 송데 다바이 도와주면 동일레도 셔도 이케기 심제시에 나라 네베 남랑 신시바 강다 강인베 네베 동에티 대다지네 신시 심제시에 나기 패드집에 동의 셔도 너희라 셔 Baba Chichi, Chichi, young do Saba shows. Tagema Besu, Simulation, New Zealand, Kazet, you know, or take Dibu Gangals and Sosalia Baba said to Sugalia Korashos. Or the one to Kazet, young Kazet, Tia Ganga Simulation, paint over shows. But on that is a Tian Roar, that taking and doing.
So 165 stanza is kind of a summary. In brief, for the sake of living creatures, may all the harms I have selfishly caused to others descend upon me myself. So as Geshe explained, just to bring home everything that we're talking about is that we have harmed other sentient beings, since beginningless time until now. And so now we, kind of pray that all the harms we have caused them, may all that, like the bad consequences, the outcomes, befall on me, not on sentient beings, right? In other words, may the negative karmas ripen upon me, not upon them. And so whatever good karmas or merits I have accumulated, may all of these things ripen upon them and be of benefit to others. So we will stop there today and welcome your questions. Give me a second, change my glasses, put the page number.
Nothing online yet.
Okay.
Hi. In looking at this exchange of self with others and imputing the I on all instead of just this part over here, it seems to me that which would explain why the chapter on patience is before, that there's other work that has to be extensively done before that to even reach a neutral stage, because in the beginning there's going to be these appearance making of others as a threat to me, others as, the threat could be like they're disrespectful, they're dismissive, they're aggressive, whatever. And then I would appear to myself as the recipient of that or the victim of that or however. So there's like this relative appearances of the other relative to the me. So it seems to me that has to be worked on extensively first, at least reduced enough to where we get to that equal, which is equalizing, the equalizing first, and then we go, they're not a threat, but I can cherish them. So, and I can impute this I on them. Seems to me like that, but I'm wondering what Geshe thinks about this.
Okay, so let me check whether I understood you or I missed something there, right? So here we are talking about exchanging self for others, means we have the new self, which is all sentient beings, right? So we have cherished it. But before we get there, what we're saying is that in terms of appearances, right, others are doing a lot of things, right, which are, let's say, harmful or whatever, negative appear, right?
Yeah.
So how can we
separate this? Before that, the I would have been appearing as separate from the others. Because for me to be able to impute I on all,
right,
I would have had to dissolve the I that is me over here and a you over there. I would have had to do that. And I would have to look at this relationship of how you appear versus how I appear. And part of it is whatever relative one you want to do. You're the perpetrator, I'm the victim. You're the threatened and I'm the threatener and I'm the threat. So however way, I have to like work through all this to dissolve all that first. Before we even get to that.
So how do you dissolve the I before we
I would think at least that separate I, that I that is has all these negative emotion around it. It's scared, it was wants to protect itself, wants to promote itself, like the whole praise thing. So what does Geshe think about that?
Mora condition the direction that ngaza tan so the takshin che khadu de le yorwa ge 다 사바디 다 신디게 디 다 사바디 제로하게 아스디 칸리아 다 딘데게 삼로 레라와 신심제 탐제 다인 삼에 레제로하게 딘데지 용아야라야 당보 디스로와 소소 다롱인지 제 다셔로하게 디마 지간저 이나바 가서올다마 매버 서비스로하게 마제나 디다 사바디 로케오로하게 디케셰메지로스로하게 가서 그래 소설 담시나 여러하게 나딘데 제베나 딘 미심제 담제 다 남주 다 삼대디 냠다 감다 다 지금 레도 망고죠 여러하게 디 상마마 가서 침베이나 다 가서 마 매버 서네로하게 안 시네 다 심제 담제리아 다 승문제 다 사바지 신 로케투 그러와서 여러하게 디 마다 당보 다 인바디 데데나 디피게 다 사바들 삼로 코스 말에 디 갱 식당 칸데 시나사게 디 톤
다 마치 디게다 롭중 토이 정도와 데데다 제가 당고세다 로차하고 휴요레스디 공시는 애니 그 존스요 말이지 거들라고 이거지 가요만 자기 도서 어때래 제가 상호디에 용도 말해서 당보티 용구레스 용구레스 제가 빼줘들 다들 소를 과드 강바세야 통만 소소냥도 용샤지 말이스 밤에 고라 용샤지 레디 신나 들다 게라고 되는 곳에 저지 배 소소 지조샤 배 히불레 두고도 왔어 그다 코나 심제 해달라 지오샤 로디레 두고 찍바레스
이네 단게 뭐랑 삼단다 쇼로하게 다 단단 가서 다 사별로 제들라 다 닝발로 스테데로하게 디파베 알레 매버 속으로 내가 매버 속은지 맞으나 다 사별로 되지 신사 말와스로하게 제가 아니 갱 식당한테 간다 당보 다 닝바데 매버 속으로하게 다 세겐지 랑다 타다이베 다
닝바 매버서 간데 속으로는 다 닝바데 나가세 될야 진지시데는 퀄리 용야 리부저들 용야 가도 맞도 매우지 유대해 뭐셔다로
알아론스노
셴려야 상어단들 요대요 상어 뭐던 사로
알아론
저티 유대 팀이 거래 이렇게 제토로 유대단면데 제토 말아
no so so what Geshe says is this that for us to be able to have, should we say, that new sense of I or the self, like label onto all sentient beings as I, right, to get there, right, as you were saying, what about the old self, so to speak, right? Do we need to dissolve it or whatever, right? It's for that reason, earlier we talked about the need to reflect on the faults of self-cherishing attitude, right? And then the benefits of cherishing others, isn't it? So when we reflect a lot on the fault of self-cherishing attitude, so that counteracts, it is as if, right, old self, right, kind of shies away, so to speak. And then we are able to cultivate, of course, in the beginning, as I said, it's such a difficult thing, right? It looks like almost impossible, but then if we persist and kind of think that new way, slowly through habit, we will be able to do it, you know? And the example given, as we just saw, is how we have come to regard this body as I, although this body has never been with us since beginningless time, isn't it? And even it doesn't belong to us, so to speak. It is the result of mom and dad's sperm and blood. You know, it belongs to somebody's substance, right, that created this body. And now I'm so used to thinking it's my body, it's my head, it's my hair, right? So through that habituation, we are able to do that. So the same way, right, if we train our mind, in the beginning it seems very difficult, almost impossible. Slowly, we could have that new sense of I. Yeah. All right. Yes.
From the point of view of label making and imputing the I, it seems like we're shifting what we impute the I on, because we have this very rigid, we have this very the habit of holding this I, this over here, you know, this inherent I, and also the body is the I and the thoughts are. So there's all these ways that we hold on to that. It seems like we're shifting it over and over until kind of like breaking it down and loosening it up. So.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing.
Alors, Quran samlo tangda chebena ta nganzo namju soso ta cheber zembe ta chewage ta de da ko dakshi dikha de ra sarwage soso de waj sugui ne ka ba kin ji shi nga seng shu ji ba chana san rawage ran shi de rawage ta tangda 다 사바디 dakshi koran chepchin barwage semje thamja la da se ko ming saba de da sta barwage jesa ko dakshi chepdu go barwasa di chane lo saba ki the di ne besa urge da tak tende me da da ke tak chö da dakshi ni bol da cho
da zu risk din namju so da bezong da khati si so ya ki bezong khati chi di bezong so di hen pa she namju she yawa tho so di en so samata madang she en dos gumya tel dakshi jese
no ine tanda gen tanda kap de she de da saba de dakshi saba re la ko tak chö di saba cha de go di tak da re de ro ge dakshi de chepdu go ro ge
re chada da tanda dakshi jese adi samu cherso lega sia nuyi jo jer mo ji ko khangza kora de simji ke da rang chen re do ma ro
no
lega sidang da
So Geshe said the bottom line is that somehow, if we started to feel this kind of sense that all this time we have been so habituated to take care of just self over others, isn't it? Now that's kind of minimized, right? Instead of doing that more, we are kind of thinking more about others. Then this thing is working, right? In whatever way you call it, right? And you're right that in a sense when it have the new self, we call it, the basis is different, isn't it? The sentient beings are, the basis is shifted, right? And then but the bottom line is, as Geshe said, right? In our mind, now if we learn to, let's say, cherish others more than self in a small way, right? Instead of doing everything for ourselves, now we are doing more for others, then this thing is working. That's what he's saying, right? Yeah.
Thanks. This is related to Raina's question.
Sure.
It is said that the equality of self and others is realized on the 8th ground only, on the 8th Bodhisattva ground. This is when it's realized. And so is this the same kind of realization, the same object? Is it like this, what we're meditating on, is it carried to perfection on the 8th ground? Because on the 8th ground, obviously it seems to me it's realized that equality, because just like Raina said, at that point there is no more grasping at self.
So you mean like this practice actually happens on the 8th ground?
Yes, I'm not sure if that's the case. It's the same. It's carried to perfection. To complete realization only on the 8th ground when there is no grasping at self anymore.
Okay.
Only then it's really
this
the equality. Yes.
Right, yeah. 고라간이学的this个다当当的닥신 지혜学了와게 삼로 창자디 다 무엇으로와게 중사 산zam다 마선디 사개바 책을 와서와게 사개바 레디오 강리야다 소소리야 신바들와게 매상당 원에 신을와게 신 다든 사방원에 연구를 와서 디바돌이야 매딩에 진행을 와서게 공원에 용사대
이제 말이 전 소개 용쇼라 상호데 다 사개바 사타자네 이 소소의 저서 방법으로는 능해요 말아. 이제 가가지고 와. 다들 저서 소지 뭐야 사토세게 시고 맞다.
Now, what we are talking about here is something that ordinary bodhisattvas are able to do it, right? Of course, if you are on the Arya bodhisattvas now, because they have realization, emptiness, is a very different thing, right? As ordinary bodhisattvas, right, as real ordinary bodhisattvas, they have that attitude, right? So it doesn't have to happen, wait until the 8th ground, I mean.
What's the difference between that realization?
Right. Right.
So what is the difference between that realization on the 8th ground of equality, isn't it equality of self and others, and the realization that we're talking about now?
And 진리네 이베나 단다 창심 게 소지게 디난투고 예베이나 장서 사게바발라와게 and that jik tal shimba mevchero kuni kari kebaro yone kari yoresa sagebal lebrwage sagebagi karsa orakin ta takshin chedang samlo dedan rwage tanda di changsem sojegi rwage takshin chedabor kebaro kari yoresa
diyorda sageba da karsene kar not go mesel kaze god kanga jimada da karshi shan dungese da meo shagoro
no
da soje dungede yor ben shata jimata goda naza yugor ko naza yugor suewa shin shigoro
no so
oti karsa neba yumegi soda ya 로이 개발도 시에니 소설도 야 누가 유미 되 개발이야. 나 봐발 선수 봐발 누가 요 말아.
Lare. Di Morgan.
소설이다 시동저 시 고가다 나제 가르다 나마다 그래서 소설도 좋아 누가 용거로.
No. The town chogo, right? In the Michigan site, Gabaliata, Yunti Chazam Pans as a date on edge Cabajum again.
아다 뒤지고 말이다. 지도 담이고서 또 아니 콤바 뭐시 콤바 탈시는 좀 레도고 와. 그래서 야도 소서 컨셉이다. 중간에 묘사거로 사사 개발이 좀 많으셔 라고 좀 그건 더서다 가시면 요 말아.
No. So what Geshe says is this, that in the case of Arya Bodhisattvas in general, right, so they do not experience the suffering of like birth, all of these other things. So it's much easier for them to be able to, right, make incredible sacrifices. So in the case of the 8th ground Bodhisattva, right, 8th ground Bodhisattva is free of all the afflictive emotions, right, and their realization of emptiness is not just non-conceptual, it has been familiarized all the way to the 8th ground, right, so there's many other qualities. So even if they give anything, they have cut off their head, they have no pain, nothing like that. Whereas the ordinary Bodhisattvas, still they will feel pain. Ordinary Bodhisattvas, out of their cherishing others more than them, if they sacrifice something, still they will feel the pain, but they're willing to go through the pain, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I might have this wrong, so
Sure.
we'll check it. That's why I'm.
Sure.
So my understanding, on the 8th ground, we're free of the innate grasping. At the path of seeing, we finish the learned grasping. At the path, when you hit the path, that's when we finish the learned grasping. I forget there's another way to say it. I forget the word. Yeah, but even before that, before the path of seeing, like Geshe says, as ordinary practitioners, some may have the inferential understanding of the absence of this I, and that's enough to also work with. And maybe even without that, it's enough to start working on. I don't know. What does Geshe think?
Okay.
So we're working backwards.
Okay, right. The Morangi, the Kodan of the degree of psychologics is a Rawage. Penasa Jabala level in a Rawage. Morangi Kodan Chaman Tangzil Henje or Rawage, Yomares Rawage. The Satangoki Chanju Samba of Chimbe, you may not any dear Rawake, Karsodanga. Tangzil Henje, the Yor the Rawage, Tangzin Kundarwege. Kundarwe. Tajil New York, Henje to Kundarwa. Oh, Kunda Yomares Rawage. The mother, any Pena. 사당범 하다 보면 예인베인에 아니 동이 디 튼지스 들어와게 제바세메게 또 받는 인거로 와서 다디게 상말로기 다난다디 가서 아니 닥션 제다 디가 또 뉴버다마를 레시고 왔어 그서게
대레도 돈이 펜도도 여러 얘기하디
다들 뭐라 라이브 딩에 다다 디가 사 개발하게 가서 그래 당질 현재 자원이 매버쳐로 하게 사 개발 당질 현재 매버쳐로 하게 사 당볼 레벨 전주 선바인바이나 당지 군다 매버쳐로 와 현재 요버쳐로 하게 딩엘이 연하다 제바세메 돈이 또 용식으로 서로 대다다 디더로 하게 just double checking that everything you said is all the ducks are in line or row, whatever that expression is, how to make sure. That's right. Bodhisattva on the 8th ground has no innate grasping, right? And Bodhisattva on the 1st ground has no what we call intellectually formed grasping. And even before that, depending upon even ordinary, practitioners could have inferential realization, understanding of emptiness. And if you have that, that's going to make a difference in terms of exchanging self for others, right? Yeah. Sure.
It's related in the sense that these contemplations, like Raina said, they presented in this chapter, but actually they are meant for developing bodhicitta. So these are contemplations meant for somebody who is not even on a path. And such a person, again going back to inferential realization of emptiness, might even somebody who's not on the path might have realized emptiness already. So even in that sense, it would be beneficial. But isn't it the case that these are contemplations meant for developing a bodhicitta, somebody who's not even on the path?
Sure.
Right?
Kora condition this tandang andu de kin ta takshen nya ba de shebe chi sungo ro wa ge the cup de that and the lui che something ka de shege yor de ine 조 미교라고디 디 전juk 셈게 하셔 중국어 와서 와게 당신 인양받아 제가 사이드가 전juk 셈게 하셔 들어와게
다 당신 냠바 건제스 동호 성주심 깨당을 게 유전 좀들 유전이면 깨고 말아.
라고
그 당신 냠바 냠지스 건 깨지지다. 유전 명아 dinsi다 마시 되서 서로 자타는 마시베 까딘이야 티고니 까딘 거지야지.
라고
단다디 어느 계다지나 진짜 런지디시나 거 팬도면서 금액이신 런지디시나 거 팬도면도 그래 해지도 야도 세비 내가 통은 계당시나 단다디 어느 계도도 있어라
라고
다 유저명아도 이제다디 뭐 라마군주시는 저버렸다 수 파마 세디 파마 까딘도 삼네 엔디 자가마가메 파마가 그 시동식 마셔야 돼서 디데가 잘 저와줘야 저러
라래
유전도 가르면 더다 네 주야지 봐라
저도 그 권한선 단대 셰데다 간자 라마슈 강사지기 당신 인양받아 제고 시거로 와게
어제 라마쇼기 보다
딩에네 야 카지 동ning 무슨도 또 사는 딜 수용 건데 용거로 와 요번 딱 동ning 무슨 또다 당신 제일 양 켜바지 튕기기로 와게
알레
녜리야 동ning 무슨 또 안데네 데 람델 수는 양 당신 제비 용거로 와게
돈이고도 다이야 다데 다 돈이고도 다다 tenjo로는 니나 열어 tenjo소
요번에 딱 동ning 무슨 또다 양 당신 제일 편도 용거로 와게
편도용거
That's right. Yeah, Geshe said, yes, this is in the context of like someone entering, right, the path and then cultivating, this kind of thoughts to be able to cultivate bodhicitta. Remember, we always talk about the two prominent ways of cultivating bodhicitta. One is the 6 causes and 1 result way, and the other one is equalizing and exchanging self for others. And this is regarded as the way of the sharp faculty, right? Because they are able to see, right, through reasoning what's wrong with self-cherishing attitude, right? Now they are convinced that cherishing others has a lot of qualities, and that's how they cultivate it. In the case of, seeing everybody as your kind mothers or father and all of that, but that's more in a belief system, isn't it? And you're right. So the whole discussion is for the sake of cultivating bodhicitta. Now it's possible that somebody first realize emptiness directly, right, and then come into this, right? So such practitioners, that realization emptiness could, right, benefit them doing this practice. Yeah.
Well, it seems to me it's not just possible, probably is the case. It seems to me not just possible, but probably this is the case because we're talking about sharp faculty bodhisattvas,
Right.
and they already have realized emptiness before entering the path. So it's almost by definition that they have to, before they engage in this kind of method of development of Bodhisattva, they will have realized emptiness, which goes back to what Reina was saying from the very beginning.
Okay, I'll double check. Kwarang this is what again. The di 전주서 왕는 기 체들이야 당신 냠체 권에 semkeda share 와게. 전주서 왕는 세대 강렬이야 동ning 무슨 또 산으로 와게. 안디네 추페버 쓰고 말해서 당번. 뭐서.
어느 시기는 가서 아무 놀러죠. 뭐 아무 놀러요. 이게잖아.
네, 이제미 동ning 무슨 또 계제요.
이게 참
뭐서.
리그레이션 좀 계제요.
So when we say, sharp faculty bodhisattvas, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have realized emptiness first. They're just like sharper in terms of, right? That's what it is, yeah.
Calling them bodhisattvas, which means they at least have, what do we call that? Aspiring. Bodhicitta and bodhicitta, and that's very powerful too, especially if it's cultivated a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
알레 뭐라서마다 면심 기시 권에 전주심 기대네 당다 당신 해야 되게 팬더 연구로 와서 그러게 육심 면심 예반으로 와게 면심 권에 전주심 숙심보 검리 예바 예반에 당다 당신 해야 될 양 팬더 연구로 와서 그러게
무슨에 무슨다
멤버 전주심
라
멤버 전주심
멤버 전주심은 다 데려가지 전주심에 너무 맞아왜
어디래
심지들 무슨 식으로
다 딘델 검리 시보 예반에 양 당신 제일 핑크로 와게
대표가 대표야 돼 되면은 다다데 전주심 무슨 맞아 공개자라 다다 제야 당고도 맞아도 다 무슨 깨타네 더더 코는 다게 저 숙셔로 야르도 여러
맞아요
다다데 정말 심 깨베 깨자로
맞아요
무슨 깨타네 뒤 깨자 말다
노 So what we have been discussing is kind of starting as fresh, right? Somebody who wants to cultivate bodhicitta and through this particular method, right? And now it is possible that somebody has generated aspiring bodhicitta quite strongly and has habituated with that. So that will again empower the exchanging self for others, isn't it? We are not assuming that somebody who comes into this already has aspiring bodhicitta. It is possible, right? It's not required, you know. Yeah.
So there's a question online, and Pam also has a question. So the question online, if we go back to, I think this came up around the time of Raina's original question, and we're talking about the I, and then I'll say also the old self, maybe to help understand this question.
Right.
So this person says, if we hold on to the I, or maybe the old self, is it true that we lock ourselves up in confinement? In other words, do we imprison ourselves in samsara?
The target on the condition Rawage. Tandang Anzo Ta Ningba di Nashi Ted and Rawage. Seven Yibina and Ta Kok on the Peri Seven, so can Junju Tambas Rawage. So the Junju Tambas or Jun Juwe Source Rawage. Jenny Kovanal Yabichusha Takacha de Gorvesa, that Tanya Majanda Rawage. Yes, if we stay with the old self, then it is like we are imprisoning ourselves in samsara, right? That's right, yeah.
Yeah, going all the way back to the beginning, is it when you talked about, or in Geshe talked about there are reasons that would establish the positive effect of cultivating the mind that cherishes others, that can be established.
Could you bring the mic, little? Because I'm kind of losing some of your words. Okay.
Can
you
hear
start again? Yeah.
Can you hear now? Is Geshe said that there were reasons that could establish that cultivating the other cherishing mind would bring about the happiness that you're looking for. So are those reasons the steps in the methods, or are there reasons that would a priori establish that that's the case?
Okay, could you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, the reasons that can be established,
Right.
that can establish
Right.
that cultivating a mind that cherishes others
Yes.
will bring you the happiness that
Right.
that's eluded you for eons. Okay, so are there reasons other than the steps in the method that would establish that? Like to someone a priori who hasn't experienced the benefits of habituation?
Okay, so I think I still somehow didn't.
The reasons
so the reasons given are there the reasons established in the textbook only? Is that what you're saying?
what are those reasons that would establish that?
Oh, what are the reasons?
You don't have to take it on blind faith. That if you cultivate that,
Okay.
that this will happen.
Sure.
So
Okay. Huh? 156. Okay. 166? Oh, 156.
okay. I don't have
Oh, the mighty one says right. Is that what it is? Yeah. Alamorang the condition this tandang anzo the Shen Jinjin Jebina and Shen Jinjin the Kasola Lexokun Jungung ta Yakshata Relabro again. Tesanta ko Junjen Tongwe Kone and Shen Jinji Chigo again. Just the Junjen Rabati Ma Katebe in a rogan. Junjen was Kandakanda Chango Resa, Shen Jinjin Chebi in a rogan, and Lexokun Jungne in the rogan. Now, Junjen Machikta, but Katesh and the rogan. 그래서 이제 제시해지고 저 말고 그 균제 something 그러하게 어디
제대 배는 것도 들어온 거다. 제가 메시나 메도 소소랑 제사고 배 소소만 삼기면 메디 메신다 마드미 토나 메데오 샤샤고도 메 상모 현 변도 시기는 메 강가 될 거고 생각이 되고서 무슨 용거로
라온
제가 어디래 저 거는 신지 연대야 샤도 됐지 되네 도로
그래 대인에다 알아서 슝랑 게 나리야다 균제 다 직거로 냉가로 된 게 손해로 그러하게 알아서 슝게 나로 그러하게 배제 나로 그러하게 배나 가서 데려 배나게 가서 텐데게 다 동반이 루베로 저러 된데 균제로 된데 손해로 그러하게 단단히 라는 지단게 지셔도 미 야가도 삼을다다 공서 지겨 라이디다 지단 배제마다 내고 하고로 로겐디
머리를 이 단데 근다 강게 남주는 신시지 용대다 랑시지 독조요 말아도 소 독조매다 랑시지 거라지 신시지 좀마데 가서 용대다 랑시지 좀마데 제다 고마도 딱지 시는 애니 코나 용아카리 용거는 신 아한테 다도 가서 남주는 기당 그 kö베토니라 미 랑제사보다 대는 거 미가 가고 말아
no
미야 상고 제 상고 동게 있는 미가 밑에 가 미가 가고시라
no
그 공부좀 좀 두고라
no 어디를 게 준제 찍으러 준제 가실 수는 게 야금을 게 준제 찍대
유대 락바도 될 때는 첼시도 던 진짜 가가지고 다 가서 미동랑지 용야 그 기우마부기를 그 통화 용야 될 상호 땅에 이제 야 예르도 땅에 쇼셔셔 땅에 다 첼시도 그러데
겐디 가서 신진진 제발 겐 세미나 그 티바 학과도 정도에 다 똑바야 토로에 되네 김제 셰여게
진지디시나
다 신진진 창조심 기로로 되는 직 티바 장도에 되는 똑바야 되네 진배진
진지디시도 셰 개샤시나 셰 개샤서 들어봐 레가시가 대신에 창조심이야 펜토가
no I just want to try to get sure that Geshe gives us more reasons than just the generic one he gave. So I'm just trying to push that a little harder. So Geshe says, I mean, we are so habituated with our old self, and we have really hardly taken any chance to reflect on, the benefits of cherishing others. But the thing Geshe was expounding on me, the generic thing I was thinking is that even in general, like we can find that people who are dedicated more for the well-being of others, right? These people are loved and respected by everybody else, isn't it? People who are very self-centered and only think about themselves, nobody likes them really, So that is something we can see, sort of, right? That. So Geshe was pounding. I said, but Geshe, can you give me other reasons that we go through the Buddhist texts, because that, I said, anybody can understand that. So anyways, I was pushing him harder, but Geshe says, yeah, but in terms of when we go through the, what called purifying our mind of, right, obscurations, defilements, and gaining realizations, all of these things are tied with, right, the thought of cherishing others, right? Without learning to cherish others, without developing bodhicitta, then we cannot ever, right, go on the path and grounds of enlightenment. So all of those things are benefits taken into consideration to be the benefit of cherishing others. That's what Geshe said.
So thank you. But so that means that if you run into a beginner who's a little bit skeptical, there's nothing you could say to them that would would convince them that they ought to give it a try.
I think, for the skeptical, that's, I think, what the Geshe was saying first really worked, right? I was telling him, please don't give me just the generic one, Geshe, just give me something more in the text I was pushing, right? But that's what works for the skeptics, right? So people who are dedicated for the well-being of others in the society, right? We have social workers, we have those people, right? These people, right, they are very happy with their life and they're respected and loved by everybody else.
How do we know that,
Right,
though?
yeah.
How do we know that they're happy?
Well, that's something we see, right? People
I'm just thinking that if there is a reason that could establish that by doing such and such, that a certain state of mind comes about. To somebody who says, are you kidding? That it's just, a beginner that's a little bit skeptical. It's like, so... You
mean like you're skeptical? I'm trying to understand you. Okay? I'm not arguing with you, so don't get me wrong. So are you being skeptical about people who are like thinking kindly towards others and dedicating for them? Are skeptical about what's the hidden agenda behind that, or what's the sex?
Well, we can't know who's really happy and who's not really happy. We can. That's just.
But they
could be
appreciate
just a
respect about
projection
others,
of
right?
what we think. Yes.
You're not skeptical about that, right? They're respected and they are really appreciated, admired by other people, right?
Well, I don't know. I'd have to have a specific example, I suspect, because I can't just think because somebody's a social worker that they're happy. Because,
Right.
but
Okay, so let's take that one out. That's
Yeah,
skeptical,
okay, we'll
you're
take
right.
that one out,
Let's
right.
say, how about like others really, they respect, huh?
Volunteers.
Right.
Social worker gets paid.
Right.
So let's just say someone volunteers.
Right, someone volunteer, yeah, whatever, right, yeah.
They're more fulfilled.
Right.
Just ask them. It's that simple. You
Right. Right.
Does it make you happy? And they go, yeah, that's
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not get caught with happiness. Maybe that's what I added there. But let's say about the people not paid, voluntary, let's make it right. Geshe didn't say it. He said his people who work for others, right? Think about others more than themselves. These are the people who are respected and loved by others, more than people who are very ego, self-centered. You're not skeptical about that, are you still? You could be, but I just want to see where
it
you are.
wouldn't convince me, but I do think now that you're talking about, I do think that if you told somebody just give it a try,
Okay.
And see what kind of mindset it brings about.
So let me go back to Geshe one more time,
Yeah.
okay?
I'm interested actually in what changes the state of mind, reasons that would actually change your state of mind
What actually
into anybody's state of mind, if they habituate themselves enough. I guess that's actually better. The method, just I would say believe in the method, try the method. Actually, I would say that would be more convincing. Is the habituation? The methods are probably more convincing
what
than
actually,
just a general. Well, if somebody's working for the welfare of others, then they're happier,
okay.
because we don't
Yeah,
know
sure.
that.
Right. That's
There is no reason, just like
right.
there is actually. Pam is right. These are not convincing reasons.
Okay, right.
That's what verse 156 says.
Right.
Later you will see the advantages. So the only reason is scriptural reason. So just believe. You have to believe what Buddha said.
Okay.
But there is no reason to establish that this will happen. If you
Okay.
engage in a method,
Okay.
eventually you'll
Sure.
see it for
Okay.
yourself, but not beforehand.
Okay, yeah. I'll go back to Geshe one more time, and then we will hopefully come to that. Morangi this go working da shin jinji chebe ina lekso kong jungne gi gyumjen je wage tanda morana lo wage sa ke sung de chidang ki je wage mi shamba mora gyumjen ra chi de nga tanda gen dis to da gi gen kana so karso gore ani dir bata tuba chumden de ani chuba mebre de sung bare slab wage
야,
tuba chumden de what did the loss in SRK sure. I think I better read that one. Then I just tell in my Tibetan Geshe. Where is that in Tibetan? But they do, I found it. The again, Junzensi Rowagan. Theater never Shenda keys Rowagan. Tuanla Rabdu Ju Ki Tangs Rowagan. Tube Kane Milu West Rowagan. Di Yunzen Chi Tong Yus Rowagan. Di Junzensi Shad Rowagan. In a Koran, the Junzendi Tanda shared the Venako Yije Chen and Rokoya Mother Chigi, Namsa Hakoya Matako Yije Chen Jordan and Mount Balasuya, Tobotona, Tongo was again. The Egyptian Rogo again, and the Shin Jinji Payment Hawaii to the Sanje Kadin Nansha, that Sanja Gypsy Egyptian Roshana, Sanyi Kalua Yomarwa, that shoe the was Hakura Mother Tanda Hakma didn't him.
的确，他可是啥控制不修，他学完了可能嘛，现的这个嘛现的，可能多少这嘛的是，你上这个送下去，我这个养农这不是的，我这养现的过不跟说的，这个现在一上这送下去，我做哈么，我这个是干嘛的哇？
但我这哈过ไป今天，
我做哈过那。我这学那样，这多少这可能是些么事，的嘛的，俺空有上几个的送下去，像拍照下都不着。
Yeah, with regard to that stanza, right? Geshe says, this is Shantideva's way of saying that what I have talked about here is not something I cooked it up, right? That's what the Buddha said. It doesn't mean that this is what we call extremely hidden phenomena. that could be only understood by believing in the Buddha's statement. That's not the point, right? That's not the point. The point that there are reasons you could see why cherishing others could be beneficial, right? But this is what he's saying. I'm not cooking it up. It's just, for that, right?
내가 가서 이 티파치부 계시에서 연대전이 제거라 신이 도와줘 연대라고 동시 롱그 숙스 어디 공저 동아 매시 근데 뒤에 매시 시에는 코로나 동서로 면서 뭐 도와사냐 거예요. 진짜 팀에서는 공도 그래도 중국 하나 독서 근데 그래서 연도 시에도 하지 말이에요. 그 저한테 가서 저 다들 상이 가서 나고 싶어서 상이 저대로 또 구워라. 어디 또야 된다죠.
So often in the Buddhist texts, the Buddha's name is invoked just to say he's the source of the Buddha's teaching, that other lamas, however realized they are, they did not make it up along the way. Like the one example Geshe mentioned is when we talk about the qualifications of Maya and a guru, right? So there's a lot of things listed. So again, they go back to the Buddhas, right, who talked about those things. But another thing I think Geshe kind of briefly mentioned is like maybe related to, the benefit of what's called cherishing others is, all the benefits we talk about, great love, great compassion, right? So those are all related to this, cherishing others, yeah.
Thank you very much, Geshe.
Thank you. Yeah. Do you have a question? If not, I'll go. You have a question? No. Okay. Die karsa Kyamju shwe da di karsa Shartse yube. Kazang kerang aji lausan di tasho so shemasa. Di Shartse oras. Aji chesno. Kare. Didn't get love and remember my way. I like you cushions. On the man cushions in. Got it. All days, all did. What else I'll do? Yeah, Kusha is the thing in the love ceremony. I think Kusha can read this name better than right. I grew up on another planet. This name is, it's like a tongue twister. It's like my student said, Dr. Dorjee. I'm like, yeah, now you make me from Mexico. Yeah. So.
So today we have an announcement along with prayer requests. The announcement is related to the upcoming Nyungne retreat. That'll be from December 21st to the 23rd. As a preliminary explanation and lead up to the actual Nyungne, next Sunday, instead of the question and answer session that we usually have after teachings, Geshe will be taking some time to explain the benefits and the purpose of doing Nyungne. So just so everyone knows. Prayer requests today. For the deceased, include prayers for Pham Le Oing, who passed away yesterday at the age of 98. So please keep Pham Le Oing in your prayers, and along with all other beings who have passed away, may they be free from all suffering and purified of all negative karma accumulated since beginningless times. May they be reborn with all precious freedoms and endowments. May they meet the Dharma and a qualified guru and quickly achieve liberation and enlightenment. We also have a prayer request for those who are still with us. A prayer request for Hozan Alan Sanaki, who is currently in hospice. So please keep Hozan in your thoughts and prayers, and along with all other sentient beings, may they be free from obstacles and negative karma. May their wishes and prayers be fulfilled. May they be guided by the blessings of the three jewels, and may they experience everlasting peace and happiness.
표현의 지송선 게
등내 잠주 쉬어 가실 수 있도록에 단다 셀리데와 팜레 왕서와 가상 총도 로고주 고게 레샤르바 가상 총시 셀리데와 샤다 센데 호잔 알렌 선노키 센탄다 페진 단다 호스피스 수디 가르시오레 다 먼저 총연라야 징예버시 저거 드라임 직타시 차워치도 콩 레야 등면나르나스.
So let's do prayer to our Lokeshwara and the mantra and the dedication. Okay. Chadong Golun Yuwen Gyabon Don Jendong Gyawa Sangbe Sangye Don Kala Kandu Tela Dedem Jumba Jenre Zil Chanze Lo Omani Peme Hong Mani Omani Beme Hori Gawa Di Nyodo Da Jere Sewan Drubjo Dowa Jin Di Sanlang Gwa Sho Toje Kunla Nyombe Jomden De Senzang Tebe Ngendu Dunge Doson Nese Sanje Menje La Bindu Yai Chaze Lo Te Ta Om Bekaze Ma Bekaze Naze Samuka De So Deda Begaze Ma Begaze Ranza Samogade So Hua Gawa Di Nyodo Da Membe Yewo Dobjo Ne Dowa Cheja Ma De Sala Gebara Sho Lode Gaze Udon Bega De Gesan Pove Chudo Memba Temba Zinla Wando Jijube Tanyen Chogun Jo So one de Mawan Dame, Quinjan Donga de Kari Jonso, Ninda says Jamgun Jawa, Niwa Yase, Danson Dinzi, Mabe, Sheba, Tenzin Chebe, Yingon Zebe, Shije, Nigun Changju, Ten Longdo Tamje, Bebe, Beyunje, Duja Gazu, Gundo, Shabde, Tesan Gonda, Chezu, Zombe, Yongzo, Yure, Tobe, Nyagi. Longri Deje, Nubu Bedemba, Tubden Kari, Tabo, Shabde, Dona Gomen, Zeba, Namda Gun, Tenda Rowe, Pende, Lundo Jume, Chebe, Tenle, Kesan Duje, Dundo, Shabden Sho, Jiju Lame, Tuje, Melanda, Kesan Duje, Dendan Zam, Shozon Dodo, Jido, Domba, Chida Mumben, Dung, Lundu Sho Ranja Shinge Gombo Tseba Men Zodo Namje Kiyun Drama Shojo Zeye Lazo Tamje Je Daden Mishi Choge Ngodo Tubden Jedang Losan Yawa Yi Shiro Tenban Zembe Beiyun Je Tade Duje Gyongbe Yangde Ninje Gombo Sowa De Jigden Sumkwe Chana Beme De Denbe Zawa Soso Namda Sudi Yangda Lamba Ye Losan Genden Bedo Shabde Tuzhong Gyeltsen Nongzhen Yangbe Chen Zhongbei Chen Gongzhong Xela Zhongzhou Debe Den Denbe Ngada Chenpo Shabde Zhebe Donga Gowa Bozo De Zhongbei Lilang Siyu Bomzha Chen Zhongbei Denden Leshe Keizhou Xinyin Chenpo Shabden Shu Kebe Langdo Guzhe Zeta Je Zhongbei Chala Niezo Rang Sangbei Dije Rigong Yixie No Zhomden Xinyin Chenpo Shan Tezang Rulang Zhebe Dende Je Menjo Zaju Zangmen Sijin Je Labjen Zijin Dendu Be Tuden Xinyin Chenpo Shabden Shu Chozong Jiawa Sije Chenla Da Tuden Dangjen Songmen Tin Daja Lasang Dabe Denbe Do Jida Me Lendo Shu Changzhou Simzhou Renpo Je Ma Ye Ba Nan Jieju Je Ye Wa Nyangba Gone Gongdong Be Wa Shu Dongni Dawa Renpo Je Ma Ye Ba Nan Jieju Ye Wa Nyangba Me Ba Gone Gongdong Be Wa Shu Sa Xi Be Je Zhu Xi Me Do Zhang Re Ra Lin Xi Yin De Sangye Xinduo Me De Wei Wa Ye Zhu Gui Nan Da Zhe Ba Shu Kan Re Ra Wei Guo Wei Xin Gam Do Pen Dan De Wa Ma Lu Zhong Wei Jie Re Si Wa Tenzin Dorjee Xia Wei Si De Ma Den Yu Ji Yi Dang Gu Ru Ra Na Man De Ni Yan Da Ya Mi Last Speech Ye Wa Gun Do Yang Da La Ma Dan De Me Che Yi Be La Long Ju Ji Sa Da Lam Ji Yun De Ra Do Ji Zhang Ge Guo Ba Niu Lu Zhong